Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute since I uploaded. Today's episode, I, the mysterious ski mask man, will teach you how to make your motorcycle shoot flames. Now for this tutorial, you're only going to need two things, well, three things really. You need a motorcycle, and then you need a full exhaust with no cats in the way, preferably something that goes straight through so there's no baffles in the way in the mufflers or anything like that. Something like a Two Brothers, you know, a full M4 exhaust. These kind of loud, obnoxious exhausts, they work best for this application because we don't want any obstructions for the flames to come out. And the second thing you need, well, the third thing you need, is a fuel controller or a tuner of some kind. If you want to go the cheap route, like I did, then what you do is you go on eBay and you find the cheapest secondhand fuel controller you can get. In my case, I got a Two Brothers juice box, which is Dynojet Power Commander FC. So, same thing if you happen to find those on eBay. And you can use Dynojet software with the Two Brothers. They're just an older unit of the same thing. And the first thing you're going to want to do is take off the rear seat cover. So the rear seat, take that out, and then take out the seat if you're running it to the back where it's easy to access. Some people like to leave it in the front. Obviously that's a personal choice, personal preference, but I personally put it under the back where I can easily get to it just by flipping the key, and then it's nice and covered otherwise. Once you get that off, there's two screws in the front of the fuel tank for this particular bike, and then the fuel tank itself is on a hinge. You just kind of lift it up, and you disconnect the connectors that go into the fuel pump into the fuel tank, and then from there's three connectors you have to worry about to plug the Power Commander fuel controller, or in my case the Two Brothers juice box, back into the bike. And what this unit is basically going to do is going to take the signals going from the ECU to the fuel injectors, and it's going to interrupt them, and then it's going to modify them. So it'll either cause the bike to add more fuel, which is generally what you want with an exhaust, or you can also dial it back so that it's adding less fuel depending on your throttle position as well as the RPM. Here we have a table. This is the actual tune that I'm running on the bike. This is just the base map from Dynojet for the full M4 exhaust, the exhaust I'm running. And what you'll notice is that from about 2,250 RPM all the way up to 10,000 RPM, there's added fuel. So you have fuel in the 0% throttle position, which means when your throttle is closed, we're actually adding fuel. And that's exactly how you get the pops and bangs, and how you get flames to come out. It also helps when you're on throttle to have the bike running a little bit richer than it needs to, so that you have extra fuel in the exhaust when you roll off. Put those two things together, and you got yourself some flames and some pops and bangs. You wake up your neighbors. This works a little bit different. Random side note, this works a little bit differently than maybe other maps you've seen, where these are kind of AFR numbers. Instead of that, these are actually percentages, and the percent changes over the factory values. So let's say at 15% throttle at 4,000 RPM, 0 would mean unchanged. It's adding the same amount of fuel that the ECU originally wants. If you have 20 in there instead, then it's going to add 20% more fuel. Minus 20, 20% less. Generally, the values go between 100, so which is no fuel, minus 100, no fuel, up to 250%, which is 2.5 times the fuel amount. The base map is obviously just a base map. It's what I'm running because I'm cheap, but if you want something proper, this is not the YouTube channel for you. And what you should do is go to an actual tuner and get your bike dyno tuned. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just spitting flames as cheap as possible. Get the fuel controller, base map, add fuel. I'll include the link to this tune down in the description so you guys can download it and look at it for yourselves. Add fuel and decel, done deal.